Hello. So can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good morning and a good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your participation on the West Cities to Launch event by UN Habitat. My name is Nao Takeuchi. I'm sorry for being delayed a little bit. We had a bit of technical issues. And then I will be today's moderator for this event. But before starting the event, I would like to tell you about how to participate in this event using this platform. Please use chat for the chat and a question in the question box, and then also indicate to who you ask a question when you ask a question. And then also, and for the panelists during the panel discussion, please mute yourself when you're not talking. And today we have a prominent speakers to celebrate this launch of a Waste Cities tool and vibrantly discuss how to make our society circular and beat plastic pollutions together using this tool. And I would not like to waste your time here. So now I would like to start with this session with a welcome from Mr. Andre Zikus, Chief of Urban Basic Services of UN Habitat. So please, Andre, floor is yours. Andre, maybe please unmute yourself, please.
Okay, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everybody. I hope you can hear me now. I'm very happy to welcome all of you for this launch of the Wastewise Cities tool, and of course also the two-day training which is going to take place over the next 2 days. And also apologies about the hiccups with the startup of this session. I think from this we learn that technology is also tricknology, so the technology is tricking us out. I'm very happy that you've all come together for this session to launch the Wastewise Cities tool, and I would really like to appreciate the contribution which the government of Japan, the Ministry of Environment, has done towards the development of this tool through the Africa Clean Cities platform. And I'd also very much like to appreciate the contribution of the government of Germany, the Ministry of Environment, which has also contributed towards the development of this tool through the IKI-funded Urban Pathways program. I'm also very happy to see that we have with us representatives from ISWA dealing with cities and local authorities, and also representatives from the World Economic Forum dealing with plastic waste. Of course, a very important element in this. And I think the contribution of ISWA and also other partners like GIZ in preparation of this tool is also very much appreciated. I'm also very happy that we have with us a representative from the county of Mombasa, where this tool has been tested and applied, and Dr. Nato has been a big advocate of this program in the Mombasa County region, where this tool was actually verified. And with these words, I really look forward to a very good launch of this program. I also look forward to this tool being upscaled worldwide. I understand from my colleagues and team that in the near future it'll be replicated in around 25 cities. I hope that soon there'll be many more cities where this tool will be applied, so that cities are really empowered to assess the data situation in terms of waste generated, what is being recycled, and what is being disposed of. And we're also very happy that our executive director will be joining us, or is joining us through a video statement. Unfortunately, she could not personally join this session. So without further ado, once again, thank you very much to the government of Japan, government of Germany, ISWA, and also the World Economic Forum. Thank you very much and welcome.
Colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, Welcome to the launch of the Waste-Wise Cities tool. In our rapidly urbanizing world, our unsustainable lifestyles and high levels of consumption have caused a crisis in waste management. Now, in view of the COVID-19 pandemic, the issue is more pressing than ever before. More than 2 billion people lack access to solid waste collection and disposal facilities, creating public health problems that disproportionately affect the poor. But sustainably managing our waste has the potential to create livelihood opportunities for millions of people, while at the same time reducing the environmental footprint of our cities, which currently contribute 75% of total global greenhouse gas emissions. My experience as the mayor of Penang City in Malaysia led me to launch the Waste-Wise Cities program together with His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya during World Habitat Day in October 2018. I am very happy to say that currently over 180 cities across the world have joined this initiative, committing themselves to improve their solid waste management system. And more cities continue to come on board. In order to develop sustainable solid waste management systems and effectively tackle the increasing amount of waste generated in cities, reliable data and information on waste is crucial. But in most cities in the world, especially in the low and middle income countries, this data is lacking, preventing the development of waste management strategies and necessary investments in infrastructure. In Penang, we were able to reduce the cost of waste management while at the same time improve the rate of recycling through analyzing our waste and mapping its flow from generation to disposal. This is only one example of many, underlining the importance of collecting data on waste in order to create successful waste management strategies. Improved waste management is relevant for several sustainable development goals, and UN Habitat is mandated to develop the methodology for SDG indicator 11.6.1, which reads proportion of municipal solid waste collected and managed in control facilities out of total municipal solid waste generated by the city. Together with other UN agencies like UN Statistics Division and UN Environment and prominent waste management experts from around the world, we have developed the Waste-Wise Cities tool, a step-by-step guide to assess a city's municipal solid waste management performance through SDG indicator 11.6.1 monitoring. Cities can apply the tool to analyze their municipal solid waste management performance and use the results as a basis for sustainable solid waste management planning. In the current situation marked by the COVID-19 pandemic, the tool can be a valuable resource for overall improvement of the waste management cycle. The tool will be valuable for a wide range of actors, including, among others, policymakers, engineers, planners, consultants, researchers, and other professionals involved in designing solid waste management systems in cities that are currently lacking data. I hope that the Waste-Wise Cities tool will contribute to evidence-based planning of sustainable solid waste management systems and take forward the efforts worldwide towards implementation of the new Urban Agenda 2030 and the achievement of the global goals. I take the opportunity to acknowledge the collaboration of cities such as Nairobi, Mombasa, and Mahe for their support and collaboration in the development of this tool. I also commend the staff in the Urban Basic Services section of UN Habitat for their hard work in developing and testing this tool. Thank you.
Each year, across the world, around 2 billion tons of municipal solid waste is generated. As urbanization continues to rise at unprecedented levels, this is set to double by 2050. The negative impacts of this are already being felt, particularly by those in low and middle-income regions. Without intervention, these impacts will continue to worsen. Already each year, 8 million tons of plastic finds its way into the world's oceans. Poor waste management is a major cause of greenhouse gas emissions. Public health continues to suffer. Livelihoods too, as untreated, unmanaged waste contaminates soil, impacting agriculture and other economic activity. And pressure increases on fast-dwindling natural resources. Improving waste management addresses all of these things. Public health improves. Livelihoods can be protected and boosted as opportunity for investment increases. Environmental degradation can be halted, even reversed. It creates opportunity for resource recovery, reducing dependency on natural resources. People become healthier and begin to benefit from increased investment. And as the places in which they live, work and play become cleaner, they become more contented as well. But the question that's often asked by cities around the world is, where do we start? It's a question that can now be answered by the WasteWise Cities tool. The pathway to improved waste management starts with a critical assessment of the existing situation in the city. This gathering of objective, statistical insight builds the foundation upon which improvements can start. The problem is that reliable data and information remains a challenge, especially in low and middle-income cities. This makes it very hard for cities to identify what needs to be done, the policy interventions that are needed, the infrastructure that's required, the most appropriate technology, and how much all of this will cost. All of this leads to insufficient or quite often absent municipal solid waste management services. In 2018, UN Habitat launched WasteWise Cities, a call to action to face the global challenge of waste management. It builds knowledge through the sharing of good practice and shifting mindsets through education and advocacy. It establishes common protocols on acquiring waste data and monitoring. And it supports project finance and bankability. It works towards achievement of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. One of these goals, SDG 11, seeks to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. One of the indicators to monitor progress towards this goal is 11.6.1. This looks at the proportion of municipal solid waste collected and managed in controlled facilities compared to the total amount generated across a city. The methods and processes for this have been established by UN Habitat to ensure consistency and have been crystallized as the WasteWise Cities tool. The WasteWise Cities tool guides you through the processes and methods to acquire the data and insights needed, which comprise 7 steps. Step 1 is preparation. It looks at gaining political support, identifying the stakeholders you'll need to engage with, building the team, gathering the tools and everything else you'll need through the process. Step 2 covers the processes needed to estimate the quantity and composition of municipal solid waste generated in households. Step 3 looks at the waste generated in non-household locations, schools, hospitals, offices, markets and so on. Some of the waste collected from households and non-household sources will be delivered to recovery facilities, and Step 4 focuses upon how to identify this quantity as well as evaluating the control level of these facilities. Step 5 looks at how to measure the municipal solid waste received by disposal facilities, the control level of these facilities, and how to estimate the amount of recyclables that are recovered. Around the world, uncontrolled landfill sites or dump sites receive 40% of the world's waste, serving around 4 billion people. As urbanization and population growth continues, it's expected many hundreds of millions more people will be served by dump sites, mainly in low to middle income countries. Without intervention, by 2050, dump sites will account for 8 to 10% of global man-made greenhouse gas emissions. Therefore, this step is extremely important for cities to protect their citizens from the pollution caused by dump sites. Step 6 provides the instructions to measure the composition of waste at disposal facilities. And Step 7 links the generated data to other relevant waste SDG indicators on food waste and recycling, as well as the calculation of potential plastic leakage. The WasteWise Cities tool is designed to achieve two main purposes. One, to ensure that data and insight on existing municipal solid waste systems is reliable and of the highest quality. And two, that the processes used to gather that data and insight are consistently applied so that wherever you are in the world, the same processes are followed. Everything is clearly set out in a step-by-step guide, accompanying which is an online course that will equip you with the skills and knowledge to support your cities or your clients' ambitions with confidence.
Non, c'est vrai.
Now, I have
Alors,
that all participants
c'était pour t'aider au fait. C'était pour t'aider, je voulais t'envoyer. J'ai envoyé, moi, c'est toi qui as envoyé, je sais pas si je vais d'appresser là.
If you're not talking, yeah, please mute yourself if you're not talking. Thank you. So next time I would like to go on to the. Please mute yourself if you don't talk. Thank you. I would like to move on to a remark from the Mr. Yutaka Matsuzawa, Deputy Director General, Environmental Regeneration and Material Cycle Bureau of Ministry of the Environment of Japan. Ministry of Environment of Japan has been a great supporter for the tool development for UN Habitat. And then we should hearing from you. Thank you. Zawa, thank you. Mr. Matsuzawa, could you unmute yourself?
Okay. Now, Nao-san, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear very
okay.
well.
Thank you, Takeuchi-san and Mr. Andre Zix. And good afternoon. I am Yutaka Matsuzawa, Deputy Director General for Environmental Regeneration and Material Recycle Bureau, Ministry of Environment, Japan. First of all, I would like to express my sincere congratulations to UN Habitat and its Urban Basic Service section. I'm delighted to deliver a few words for the Waste-Wise Cities 2 global launch on behalf of my ministry. Proper waste management is an urgent and extremely important issue in the region where economic growth is significant. In addition, marine plastic litter is a major and common issue to the world. Currently, Japan is said to be one of the clean countries in the world, but around the mid-20th century, garbage was overflowing in cities, including Tokyo, and poor sanitary condition was a big issue. It took more than half a century to build Clean Japan by enhancing the legal system on waste management, clarifying the responsibilities of the national government, local municipalities, and waste generators, and establishing a system for waste collection, intermediate treatment, and proper disposal. One of the key factors was periodical data collection as well as comprehensive analysis and assessment. Japan has been supporting countries in Asia, Pacific, and Latin America region to develop systems of waste management through international cooperation by sharing our experiences and technologies, and we would like to expand our support to African countries as well. As a collaborative initiative by UN Habitat and Japan, the African Clean Cities Platform, ACCP, was established in 2017 with the aim of African countries realizing clean and healthy cities. African countries have been expected to develop methodologies based on SDG indicators to monitor their individual national targets regarding waste management. Therefore, we have started to fund the project for waste SDG monitoring and capacity development for Africa by UN Habitat since 2018. I appreciate that in Nairobi, Kenya, the pilot testing project of the Waste-Wise Cities tool had been carried out successfully. I sincerely hope that the Waste-Wise City tool shall be applied effectively to continuous collection of the basic data and monitoring progress to promote sound waste management in Africa, as agreed in Yokohama Action Guidance for the ACCP, and utilized broadly in the regions other than Africa. Finally, I would like to emphasize that Japan will continue to take the initiative in developing the legal systems, human resources, and business models related to waste management, 3R, and circular economy through the network of ACCP and the collaboration with UN Habitat. Madam Nao Takeuchi-san, once again, congratulations on successful launch. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matsuzawa, for your kind remark, and then also the continuous support for the UN Habitat, and then also mentioning about the very political importance and policy importance on the African Clean Cities platform from the government of Japan. And now we understand that the Japanese government has got a very high priority on supporting other countries for the waste management area, and that's very encouraging, I think, to hear. So next, I would like to move on to next remark from the Dr. Regina Dubé, Director General, Water Management, Resource Conservation, from the Federal Ministry of Environment, Nature Conservation and the Nuclear Safety of the Germany. Is Mr. Dubé here? Sorry, Dr. Dubé here?
Can you hear me? I'm here.
Yes, yes, we can hear you. So maybe if you could turn on your video. Yes, now I can hear you. Thank you very much for joining our session, and we thank you very much for the IKI's support through the project of the urban pathways. So yeah, we look forward to hearing from you, and then floor is yours. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I want to join in with the previous speaker by saying that I really like to congratulate UN Habitat for this wonderful tool. I think it really comes at the right time, and I'm looking forward to see its beneficial results in many, many countries. Actually, I would like to share with you some personal experience which I had while working in international cooperation in solid waste management for 15 years, and predominantly in India, but also in other countries. And I think this experience makes me say that this tool is really a right tool at the right time. When we started our work for supporting cities in solid waste management, we were perceived as a technical project. People wanted German technology, German support in processes and so on. But when we looked deeper into the problems, we realized that there was no need for certain technological knowledge. All this is in most of the countries available. We truly became a governance project. And also, I must say that while we were supporting cities on solid waste management, we never felt a lack of political will. There was always a huge understanding that one needs to work on this waste management crisis. And also, at least for India, I can say there was also never a shortage of investment money. There were huge government programs supporting cities and states to improve their solid waste management systems. Nevertheless, there was lots of problem on the ground, and it took me a long time to understand why it was so. And my home taking from all these experiences on the ground is, and that applies not only to India but also to many other countries, that cities, especially in low and middle income countries, very often are not financially and politically ring fenced. And therefore, there's always a lack of accountability. It is not like this that cities know exactly how much money they have and that they have to manage. They depend on state government funds on which come irregularly and so on. And also in the issue of accountability, who has to decide what and when, is not always properly sorted out. This is, of course, also due to urbanization, which you find in so many countries, and urban systems have grown so fast that in many of the places we do see institutional weaknesses. If you want to solve a solid waste management problem of a 3 to 4 million city, you definitely need a well-functioning solid waste management department. And this department needs to be equipped with permanent engineers, with technical staff, with people who really know and who stay in the city and can learn with the experiences while fighting for solid waste management. And this, in many of the cities, you don't find because there are not enough, from my understanding, jobs in the public sector which are attractive in solid waste management, where young people would pursue their future. And if they don't pursue their future in that sector, the universities and also vocational training would always remain on a very low level and would not be able to provide the number and quality of skills which are needed to manage urban solid waste management in these times of rapid urbanization. And also, what we see in many cases, that people try to jump too quickly into investments. And as you rightly said, they don't have data. They just invest because investment is easy. It looks like quick achievements, quick wins, but it is not so. You have to go through this process, through a long process, and there have to be process-oriented approaches with focus on institutional development, on efficiency, operation and maintenance, monitoring and accountability. And I'm convinced that the tool here, which we are introducing today, would really help to achieve that. And also, in many places, people try to work out good cooperations with the private sector, public-private partnerships, which I do appreciate. But if you want to have a successful public-private partnership in solid waste management, you need strong institutions, because otherwise you can't come to a good, long-term and fair agreement with the private sector. And with these words, I like to thank you again. Congratulations, and I'm looking forward to our discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dubé, and it's very, very insightful comments and remark, and also very encouraging for us to really like ensuring and assuring the importance of the data for the investment and political will, and also the arrangement of PPP. So that I'm so happy that we are sharing the aspiration and also the insights in terms of the improvement of solid waste management all over the world. Thank you very much, Dr. Dubé. And next, I would like to move on to the next speaker. From International Solid Waste Association, Mr. Philip Halen, head of Municipal Mayors and Municipality Initiative of International Solid Waste Association. Philip, are you here? And can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you very much.
And can you see me?
Yes, we can see you as well. Great, thank you so much. So floor is yours.
I'm always happy when technology helps us. Let me first of all congratulate you Inhabited with this initiative. It is necessary and you do an amazing good job with it. So congratulations on behalf of the International Solid Waste Association. ISWA is an organization, as many might know, that promotes and wants to develop sustainable waste management worldwide to create what we all want, a cleaner and above all healthier planet. That's why we use our unique global network to a network of compromising individuals and organizations from scientific community and public institutions, and above all, which connects the public and private partners all around the world. All of this is to achieve this vision of what we all refer to as a cleaner and a healthier planet. And ISWA's knowledge as best practices needs to be accessible to decision makers and to those who influence policy on a local and above all a regional level. And this is exactly why we came up with the idea for this initiative for mayors and municipalities. And so we as ISWA, we have a strong partnership with you Inhabited. We have been working with you Inhabited together to raise awareness on the concepts and best practices of sustainable waste management, as well as sustainable production and consumption. And we are also collaborating to promote the concepts on circular economy in relation to the SDGs. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, the total volume of municipal household waste generated globally is expected to increase by nearly 50% already over the next decade, from the current rate to more than 2 to 2.5 billion tons per year. So if you want to be a successful city, if you want to be a smart city, you cannot exist without a smart and well-funded solid waste, sustainable waste management. And we cannot achieve our collective goals, particularly the sustainable development goals, without smart and well-funded waste management systems. And so the public impact of poor waste management is really unthinkable. And we still see so much uncontrolled burning of waste and uncontrolled waste in streets that spreads diseases and pollutes our waters. So it was vital to bring public and private partners together. That's what we try to do with this initiative with mayors and municipalities. And now we are connecting the tools of UN Habitat to the broad network of ISWA. And so we would like to get more and more big cities involved in this program. The advisory group of the Waste-Wise Cities campaign and the global launch of this Waste-Wise Cities tool is therefore of the utmost importance. Globally, reliable data and information on municipal waste is exactly what is needed to get and to come to a sustainable waste development plan. But for many low and middle income countries and their cities, it is too difficult to achieve that. This tool of UN Habitat will help tremendously in catalyzing action and to localize SDGs in waste management for a circular economy, which all allows us into, in my opinion, great opportunities. I'd like to end by referring to the importance of cities, and I'm very proud that our friends and colleagues of the World Economic Forum are joining us as well, because the World Economic Forum is an organization that really has a focus in how we should get, how should I say, resilient, sustainable, livable cities. They created really a big program about that. And together with all of us, I hope that cities who will play a future more important role than ever before on this planet, this tool will help them in getting more smarter and really to be more resilient. From waste collection and transport to incineration and of course recycling, cities are in a position to take on the existing challenges and make the big decisions that will help achieve this desired future. Now to you and all the friends of UN Habitat, I wish you all success with this event, and I look very much forward on behalf of the International Solid Waste Association to work closely together with all of you, and perhaps we see each other at the World Congress in Athens of ISWA later this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Philip, and then thank you very much for supporting the and sharing the aspect of the importance of the data for the sustainable waste management. Again, that we are so happy to have partners who shares the aspiration and an understanding about the problem of the solid waste management in the world at the moment. And then also thank you, Philip, for mentioning that our partner, new partner, and then a next speaker from World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum is also working very hard on the global pollution of the plastic in the oceanic ecosystems. So and then we also had a brief chat about the last year for the further partnerships and collaboration in the future. So we are so happy to have a partner like a World Economic Forum today. So the next speaker is Rosin Green, Ms. Rosin Green from a Global Plastic Action Partnership, GPAP, from the World Economic Forum. Please talk now, Rosin. Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much for inviting me here today. It's an honor to be on a panel with such great partners, friends, all active and committed to tackling plastic waste and pollution. Firstly, let me add my huge congratulations on the launch of the Waste-Wise Cities tool. It really is an essential resource for cities to be able to better manage their resources and to tackle plastic waste and pollution. And that's a goal and an objective that GPAP, the Global Plastic Action Partnership, joins you in, along with all of our partners here today. One of the pieces that really struck me in the videos was around the COVID-19 pandemic and how it really has accelerated the growth of mismanaged plastic waste. I've seen conservative estimates say that there's at least 10 million masks being littered into the environment every single month. And I think what's really startling about that as well is plastic pollution is more than an environmental challenge, as you've pointed out as well. It really is a humanitarian crisis that's threatening people's livelihoods, that's harming health and well-being. So this really is such an important tool, and it's a really important time to be able to bring these types of impact-focused tools to the market and to be able to help people on the ground in cities really drive solutions that will have an impact. Stepping back just over 2 years ago now, the World Economic Forum brought together leaders from the public sector, private sector, and civil society to create a multi-stakeholder platform, the Global Plastic Action Partnership, to help countries turn their commitments into action. The World Economic Forum firmly believes that there is no single entity, no single initiative that can change the world, but only through collaboration, through partnership, through the public sector, the private sector, civil society, all working together, can we amplify and scale the solutions that are needed to solve the complex challenges that we face today. Sharing a little bit more on the Global Plastic Action Partnership itself, something Dr. Dubé really resonated with me in her speech there was around the need for process orientation, and that's kind of what GPAP looked to bring as well. We have 3 strategic pillars. The first is convening communities, the second generating new insights and action roadmaps, and the third is around catalyzing strategic financing. So a lot of similarities to the process which was laid out as part of the tool. I think one of the key differences is that in terms of convening communities, the Global Plastic Action Partnership operates at a global level, developing a platform to share best practice like we have today, and connecting the dots with different global initiatives and partners. We're also very focused on a national level, where at the invitation of governments, we develop national plastic action partnerships, which bring together influential leaders and change makers to coordinate on the ground national efforts. So in a way, it's great to have a really strong cities focus and then being able to see how we can build that up and connect the dots to have a national framework as well. We currently have 4 national partnerships in Indonesia, Ghana, Vietnam, and we're very excited that we announced we'll be launching a new national partnership in Nigeria. That announcement was made just last week, so we're very excited about that. And again, there's so many synergies between the countries and the cities where UN Habitat are working and where the Global Plastic Action Partnership is working. So we're very keen to work together. And as Now was saying, we've had a couple of conversations, but keen to take those further. Our second pillar focuses on generating new insights and action roadmaps. And again, similar to UN Habitat, we believe data is absolutely fundamental to action on plastic waste and pollution. We work with countries to create a national level baseline which track plastic leakage across the value chain. Again, I've seen so many synergies with the tool that you've developed, and it would be great to see how we can connect the city level data up to that national level as well. From that baseline analysis, we develop scenario analysis, which look at the different levers that need to be pulled to tackle plastic waste and pollution. And ultimately, the outcome is to create a national action roadmap, which is, again, based on a foundation of data, based on a clear process, and has the input and buy-in from national leaders on plastic action. We see the roadmap as a North Star, a set of recommendations to tackle plastic pollution at a real systems level. So there's never, unfortunately, a single silver bullet which will solve everything, but rather it's a comprehensive system-wide path forward for countries to take. Our final pillar focuses on catalyzing strategic financing. And again, this is that final pillar. Once you've done all of the data, the analysis, once you have a clear set of recommendations, then it's to see how can we mobilize and attract different financing, what are the different financial mechanisms that are required to take the strong, clear recommendations and turn them from concept into reality. So that's the kind of the 3 pillars that we take. And even though GPAP focuses on a national level, we really recognise the huge importance of cities. Mr. Halen mentioned the different initiatives that we have already to build resilient cities. We're also working on plastic waste and pollution, looking at how we can bring in different reuse business models, really focusing at a city level to see what are those different types of solutions. Plastic waste and pollution, waste management really is something that happens at a local level and needs to have clear targeted local solutions. Another piece which I'd just like to highlight is the key challenge that we all face, but GPAP definitely faces it as well, and it resonates a lot, is that lack of reliable data and information. And I think it's really important to have these tools that UN Habitat has developed to help create a harmonized methodology and to bring consistency and quality to data so that we're all able to make better decisions. So thank you so much for inviting me to join you today. It's really been an honor, and I'm excited to see how we can build city level solutions into the national partnerships of GPAP. And I'm very much looking forward to engaging you further, to leveraging each other's tools, and to continuing to have this conversation. So huge congratulations again, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ruasin, for following all this, introducing all these 3 pillars, important pillars for the GPAP program, as well as I think that we can work together very much at the national, and then also we can help World Economic Forum's and National Action Roadmap in different countries in the implementation at the city level and a regional level. So we are really excited to hear what Rosin's remark today. And then now maybe we would like to go to the next remark from the Minister of the Environment of Mombasa County. We have heard from different important partners from all over the world at the global level, but let's focus on what's going on and what we have done together with the partner such as the local government, such as Mombasa County government. So Dr. Godfrey Nato, are you here? Dr. Nato, are you still connected? Dr. Nato, maybe. Dr. Nato, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Great, thank you. So now it's your time to talk, and then we're happy and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I think I must say that I'm delighted to be part of this global launch of the Westwise Cities tool, which was actually piloted in Mombasa. And because of that, allow me to thank the leadership of the UN Habitat for choosing Mombasa as one of the 3 cities in which the WSCT tool was piloted. Next slide, please. I don't think I need to emphasize on the fact that the WSCT tool falls within the framework of the SDG 11.6, which says that by 2030, the focus has to be to reduce the adverse per capita environmental impacts of cities, including by paying special attention to air quality, municipal, and other waste management. And this tool particularly answers the first indicator within that SDG, where the focus should be on promotion of municipal solid waste collected and managed in controlled facilities with regard to the total waste generated by the city. So I wish to say that this tool was piloted in Mombasa and within the period of June to July 2019 through a specialized survey. And the target was to look at the per capita waste generation from households, commercial enterprises, and institutions, as it was mentioned earlier in the video clip. And the actual survey involved experts from UN Habitat, Waste Aware, and other stakeholders. But most importantly, that the staff of the county government of Mombasa, in which the city of Mombasa is dominant, participated in the survey together with members of community-based organizations and the youth groups that are involved in waste collection, waste picking, and waste recovery activities. The focus was on the amount of waste generated, the amount of waste collected, and the control levels of treatment and disposal that we have within our waste management framework. If you look at the key findings from the data collected using this WACT tool, broken in those three areas, we realized that the city of Mombasa generates approximately 900 tons of waste, actually slightly under 900 tons of waste per day from households, commercial enterprises, and institutions. And if you look at this generation, what we realized through this tool is that the middle income settlements, households in the middle income settlements, had the highest per capita generation, actually of more than 0.65 kgs per person. But the generation in low income areas and also high income areas fell below that of the middle income areas. And that was a very, very interesting finding for us. And then also we realized that more than 50% of the waste generated is actually organic. And this figure also varies depending on the settlement, but generally it ranges from between 52 to 58 organic composition within the waste stream that we have. And this is followed by a distance with the paper and cardboard and plastics. So among the recoverable waste stream, paper, cardboard, and plastics were the most dominant. In terms of the amount of waste collected, what we realized through the survey also is that approximately 79% of the population of Mombasa have access to waste collection services. But if you look at the quality of the collection services, we have a collection rate of slightly below 50%. And so the tool categorized our services as limited service level. And these findings were very interesting to us because what that means is that whereas our collection system gets waste from the point of generation, that waste does not therefore reach the ultimate disposal site. And so this waste is likely then to find itself in undesignated places like abandoned buildings, areas or pieces of land that are not developed, and also within our marine ecosystem, particularly the ocean, that forms also a huge mass of the cover of Mombasa city. In terms of the control level of the treatment and disposal, the tool informed us that we are at the control level number 1 for our disposal sites or disposal facilities. We have 2 of them in the county. And what this means is that there are basically no controls in our official dump sites or points of final disposal. But there are some controls within our recycling facilities, and these recycling facilities are basically within the private management, not the management of the city administration. Next slide, please. So how useful has been this data that is generated by the Westwise Cities tool? One biggest usefulness I will point out is that the tool has availed more Sorry for the lost network. So the most useful thing that we have realized is that we now have concrete and accurate data. Just for your information, before we did this survey, our records and documentation showed that the city of Mombasa generates approximately 2,200 tons of waste per day. And these were estimations that have been carried over for many, many years. But with the implementation of this tool, we have realized that that figure was kind of exaggerated, and the accurate figure is actually slightly below 900 tons per day. And so this completely changes our strategy and changes even our investment portfolio in waste management. Usefulness number 2 is that the findings generated by this tool have reawakened our resolve to address concerns related to the municipal solid waste. The fact that the tool has given us a scorecard, how we score in terms of collection rate, how we score in terms of the measures we have put in our disposal site, have kind of shown us that there is need to put in more effort, that there is need to improve our efforts to streamline the collection of solid waste. And finally, this tool has given us data that provides the necessary justification for the planned intervention in the 3 thematic areas of waste collection, waste recovery, and management of the disposal site. As one presenter mentioned earlier, one of the things that is very, very key for cities in developing countries like ours is that our finances are not ring-fenced. And so you really need to have a good justification becomes very, very useful, very, very useful to us. In terms of planned interventions as a result of the results we get from this tool, I have categorized them in 3, and within the framework of waste collection, this tool has now enabled us to embark on a zoning process where we will zone the city based on the amount of waste generated, so that then we can target our interventions to those areas that have higher generation. Number 2, we are now engaging community-based organizations, including youth groups, to enable us improve our collection rate. One of the weaknesses we have had is that as a department, we don't have the capacity in terms of equipment to do the collection to all households. So the community-based organization and the youth groups are going to be very, very influential in helping us improve the collection rate. Number 3 is that we are planning, therefore, to increase the capacity of our waste transportation. And one of the ways we are doing this is to develop the capacity of community-based organizations to use motorized transport systems for the waste they collect. But also we are procuring more equipment after realizing how much we need to collect that is out there. And then finally, the tool has also helped us to now plan for necessary infrastructure for waste collection. And at the moment, we have embarked on developing infrastructure related to the waste collection centers and transfer centers that will be useful in making our collection services closer to the people. In terms of boosting waste recovery, this tool has given us the necessary information to target the interventions related to waste recovery. And now we have finished, I would say, with the assistance of UN Habitat, to develop a proposal that targets recovery of the plastic waste stream, including the end-of-life plastics. And we also have a focus on organic waste. We are now working with the Rotary Club in Kenya to develop a proposal to recover the organic waste stream in Mombasa. And then finally, this tool has helped us to enhance the recovery capacity of city and private sector. We have at the moment built within our legislation to provide the necessary support for the private sector, so that if they want to invest in waste recovery, there are some subsidies and some benefits that they can attract to enable them recover the waste appropriately. And then finally, in improving our disposal site, we have now put in place measures to transform our open dams into closed dams. At the moment, we are procuring services to build a perimeter fence around our dam sites. We are at the tail end of procuring the dam site equipment and machinery, but also more importantly is that we are now stationing selected skilled staff for purposes of recording data and also managing activities around the dump site. So I must say that this tool has been very, very useful in those aspects, in making us plan for all these activities that we believe are going to promote waste collection rate from the current 46% to probably more than 70% within the next few years. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share with you our status.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nato. I think now the presentation really well laid out how the data is can be used as a justification for the more fund mobilizing and then also the catalyzing the actions on the ground. Now, currently, UN Habitat is working very closely with Dr. Nato to develop a more tangible and impactful project in solid waste management and also tackle the plastic marine litter. So, yeah, thank you very much again for the great presentation, Dr. Nato. So now we are quite running a bit late, so we would like to go into the panel discussion. So I have two questions for each panelists, the speakers here. So we would like to welcome Mr. Shigematsu from Ministry of Environment of Japan and Dr. Dube from Ministry of Environment of Germany, Mr. Philip Halen from ISWA, Rosin from World Economic Forum, and Dr. Nato from Mombasa County Government. So first question is for Dr. Nato and then Rosin. So what benefits does Waste by Cities bring about in improvement solid waste management and marine litter problem? And maybe if you, I think already the presentation from Dr. Nato already kind of mentioned it quite a lot, but maybe if you can say only one thing for the most beneficial part of the Waste by Cities tool application in Mombasa, Dr. Nato, please, if you could mention one thing, it would be great.
Thank you very much. Now, again, I think I mentioned quite a number of the benefits that we draw from that tool. But I think what is very, very important of all those that I mentioned is that now we have data, valid data, that we can use to develop bankable proposals and investment options for waste management in Mombasa. That one I will say has been the biggest contribution of this tool to us.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's really reassuring that our intention to develop this tool as well. So Rosin, from the perspective to tackle the marine litter problem globally, nationally, and locally, and then you working together with also the public and then private sectors together, what do you see the benefits of this Waste by Cities tool from your perspective?
Thank you. I agree completely with Dr. Nato. I think being able to make robust data-based decisions is absolutely important. And as I mentioned before, there is no silver bullet, but when you're looking at a variety of different solutions across the system, it's important to be able to prioritize these and to see which will have the most impact, and also to consider what that impact will look like across different timelines, whether it's in the short term, medium, or long term. All of those are very important. And also, I think it's hugely important when we look at the investment case. How do you build sustainable business cases that actually can crowd in investment from the private sector, from different traditional types of investment institutions? So you're not just looking at funding, but actually there's a solid business case here. That's hugely important. And ultimately, you need data to be able to back all of that up. So it's hugely important there. And one final thing I'd also like to highlight is how data is important in terms of livelihoods as well. The informal economy plays such an important role here, and it's important to be able to ensure that their perspectives are built into these solutions as we build them as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the great elaboration of what's actually should be happening and to really tackle the global waste crisis. So the next question, I would like to go into the next question to the three panelists from and from International Solid Waste Association, Ministry of Environment, and also Ministry of Environment in Japan and in Germany. So what are the critical roles of African Clean Cities Platform for the Ministry of Environment in Japan, IKI program for Dr. Dubé, and then also ISWA for the Philip, your activities to turn the data to action to establish an urban circular economy and then achieve 2030 agenda in waste management. Maybe shall we first start with Philip?
Well, now what is absolutely important is that for a lot of cities, they're not lacking enthusiasm. They're not lacking the fact that they want to create something, but they need help. And there is two ways if you want to help somebody. You overload them with new technology and this and that and structures and whatever, and then they immediately turn their back because they don't have the means, the capacity to do it. They don't have the money to invest in it, so they don't do it. So what you need to do is not give in on that, and to create this web with organizations and private and public partners who say, you know, there is not something like 25,000 different solutions, to be honest. What you need is data. If we have data, let's have a look in your local problem. There's no such thing as one solution fits all. It has to be, as we call it, tailor-made. And if you come up with a tailor-made solution and you connect all the dots and the data, then let's make a next step and let's provide something like, oh, these companies, these possible and good examples in other countries, we can bring them in, they can help you. And in my opinion, that is what this new tool will actually achieve. It's to bring in data on one hand so that we know what is going on. It's like a patient who is sick. Before you say, oh, I think what you have, just take this medicine. No, you have to examine what it is, look at the personal health status of that person, and then you come up with solutions. The solutions are there. The willingness for a lot of organizations to help, whether it is ISWA or World Economic Forum or the World Bank or whatever, partner countries like Japan, the knowledge from Germany and others, it's all out there. So let's bring it all together. That's what I believe in. Let me say one thing with ISWA. We started in 2015 with the Global Waste Management Outlook Report. I always refer to it as Sustainable Waste Management for Dummies. These books for dummies, they are world famous. Well, this World Waste Management Outlook Report will be updated later this year. And together with the tool of UN Habitat and the report, it connects and it brings answers. So yes, this is what we need to do. We needed this tool to come up with tailor-made solutions, and all the partners involved here and many in the private and public field are willing to help. And it will make our planet a better place to live and to work.
Thank you, Philip. I think that's very important point was mentioned, and then also what kind of role that ISWA can play in there, and then the important role that ISWA played actually for the publication of UNEP's very famous Global Waste Management Outlook. So maybe ISWA could be a glue of the different organization and a backup with the scientific view and expert knowledge to really build up our efforts and organize our efforts into one thing. So thank you very much for re-emphasizing the importance of the data for the locally tailored solutions, and then your support for promoting that. Thank you. So next, Mr. Shigematsu, it would be great if you could also mention what kind of role that African Clean Cities platform can play to disseminate and then turn the data to action for the SDG 1161 and then other waste SDG achievements by 2030.
Yeah, thank you for introducing me, Nao-san. Yeah, you may know that the ECCP has the objective of sharing the knowledge and experience in waste management of each country, promoting mobilization of public and private funds, and advancing SDGs through training, seminars, data collection, and dissemination of information and other efforts. In that meaning, to achieve the SDG goals in terms of the waste management as well as to tackling with the marine plastic issue, it should be effective to apply the WACT tool in several different cities in Africa and share the results of the tool and the issues related to waste management among the parties concerned as best practices among the ACCP member countries, and eventually implemented specific improvement project through appropriate load and cost sharing. You may know data collection and analysis is important not only for making appropriate waste treatment plan, including developing facilities and collection system, but also sharing the data among relevant parties in the municipality or the national level who is involved in the waste management. In Japan, as we know, the waste conducting waste composition surveys being done on a regular basis by municipalities if the waste contains a lot of water contents, such as food waste treatment methods other than incineration is desirable because of its high calorie content. I think this too will be effective to think of how to to make a transition to circular economy which is the global trend to increase the resource efficiency and improving the waste management. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's very important point, and also very encouraging for us to hear that the African Clean Cities Platform is committed to apply the WACT in several cities to develop bankable projects in Africa. That's very, very encouraging, especially for the participants from Africa, I think. And then also the importance of replicating the Japanese model of institutionalizing the monitoring of the resource use through the institutionalizing and monitoring this WACT, using this WACT in the national and then at the local level of monitoring. Thank you very much. For the final question, yeah, what are for Dr. Dube? So what do you think about the German Ministry of Environment or the EKI program's role in turning the data to action to establish urban circular economy or to achieve the waste SDGs in 2013? Maybe please unmute yourself, Dr. Dube.
Yeah, now it should work.
Yes, yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the question. So we are very much committed to contribute internationally to the solid waste management crisis. And as you mentioned, we are having, of course, these EKI programs in which we are supporting solid waste management in cities as well. And also recently, we have started another program which tries to support the fight against marine litter, which is of course very much related to urban solid waste management, because we see a lot of littering happening at the coastal sites and also into rivers, which finally end up in the oceans. And for us, the tool which was introduced today is of tremendous help, because when we work with our partners in bilateral cooperations, we do need, of course, we need to understand where they stand. And as we have heard here already, we cannot expect that cities are strong in solid waste management. They are most commonly institutionally weak, and there's always a tendency to jump too quickly into investments, as I already mentioned. And therefore, it is important to support people in proper fact-based decision making, and for that you need data. And you need to have patience also. You can't really jump from a non-existing system to a modern system like you may find it in Japan or in Germany. It has taken time in our countries as well. And that's why it is so important that we can encourage our partner cities to go on that path which you have described in your tool. Never jump into investments. See to it slowly that your institutions are built, that you're educating enough people, that you're creating job in public sector also. I think cities need to understand that it is important to have functional units which are really doing the job on the ground, and only through this they would be able to learn from these beautiful tools like you have developed. You know, if there's no people on the ground, if they are constantly transferred to other places, there's no chance for institutional learning. And all these things we need to convince our partners that they are important. And sometimes, looking at the hugeness of the problem, people tend to be independent, a little bit impatient, and there are many people running around also who try to tell them, yeah, you can make a change within 6 months or so. That's not possible. You need to have that patience, and it all starts from data. And therefore, we are happy that we can join hands and use our programs, also our financial strengths, our knowledge, but it needs to go together with an understanding that systems, processes, O&M, and accountability are the first things to be built, and then only machines later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dubey. I think that's a very important point. Never jump into the investment. So now we have many questions, but however, we are running late. So apologies for the initial technical problem. So I would like to pick up some one or two questions from the questions points. So one from Caroline Saway. Hi, I am Caroline, and I have two questions for Dr. Nato. One, how is the informal sector taken into consideration by the tool? And two, how are the national and local level engaging, given that collection is on the county level while regulation is national? So that's one question. And then the next question I would like to pick up. Okay, so another question, Idrissa from ACCP member from Senegal focal point. My first question is for ISWA. We as the National Agency Public Solid Waste Management Institution Senegal, how to join ISWA? And then the second comment is, this tool is amazing. How can we practice it in Senegal? Maybe this question can be answered by probably me. And then the third question. So from Swati Sambyal, what actions are being undertaken in the area of municipal solid waste in Japan and Germany in line with circular economy? Any pertinent incentive schemes or programs launched? So I think the first question can be answered by Dr. Nato, and then second question can be answered by Philip, and then the third question can be answered by Mr. Shigematsu and Dr. Dube. Yep, would it be okay? Yep. All right, so maybe please go ahead with Dr. Nato, please go ahead to answer first question, how is the informal sector taking into account to consideration? And then the second question, how are the national and local government engaging? The collection is on the country level while the regulation is national.
Thank you very much. Now, I think I'll have to answer the two questions, the two in one. One is that in the survey that happened, if you had me giving the statistics, the informal sectors were, the informal settlement was involved, because we looked at the waste generation and characterization in high income levels, middle income levels, and low income levels. So at the moment, we have data on what the informal settlements generate per day in terms of the volumes and also the composition. The beauty with this is that now we are tailoring specific interventions to informal settlement. One, at the moment, we are also developing a proposal that targets the informal settlement in terms of what is it that they can retrieve from the waste stream that comes from the informal settlement. A number of partners also have joined us at the moment, and we have hand in hand that using our data, now they are developing enterprises around waste management within the informal settlement. On the issue of how we work with the national government and the county government, as much as the national government has the responsibility of developing national regulations, the county government also develops their own regulations as long as they don't conflict with the national regulations. So we have the national strategy and the national framework for solid waste management, but at the county we have also developed our own policy and an act to guide our solid waste management operations. The only conflict I would say that we have now is that whereas the national government, through its National Environment Management Authority, they have allocated themselves the responsibility of licensing waste players, whether they are waste collection or recovery facilities. The county government, through our legislation, we are also giving licenses related to waste management. So sometimes the players feel like they are double taxed in some of these licenses. But we are working together to harmonize that. We have established a county environment committee where I am the chair of the committee from the county government, and the secretary of the committee is the director of Environment Management Authority, which is a national entity. So we have a working relationship with the national government such that the conflicts don't arise when they ought to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nato. So the next question is for ISWA. Maybe Philip, if you could answer how national agency, public solid waste management institution in Senegal can join ISWA.
Well, you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Let me be very, first of all, say that we are very happy to welcome Senegal to join the family of ISWA. It's very easy. If you go to the internet and you go to www.iswa.org, www.iswa.org, you will find the address of ISWA in Rotterdam. They are located in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. We have a wonderful team out there, and they're more than welcome to help you and to get all the information that you need. So we will welcome Senegal with open arms at iswa.org, and I hope to see them very soon at one of our next international gatherings.
Great, thank you very much. So the third question is about the so what actions are being undertaken in the area of municipal solid waste in Japan and Germany in line with circular economy? Any pertinent incentives or schemes or programs launched? Maybe could Mr. Shigematsu answer the question first, and then Dr.
Yeah, thank you for asking the question. Yeah, actually, in Japan, we are working currently collaborating with the municipality and related to industry or NGOs to achieve the local SDGs in municipal or some regional scale, to enhance the resource circulation in the in regional sector. For example, utilizing the energy recovered from the incineration plant to supply the electricity or heat into the facilities in the local area, or enhancing the material circulation within some within a municipality or some in designated area, or energy recovery from the food waste and utilizing in the area. It depends on the characteristics of each region, but yeah, in short, what we are currently working to establishing the local SDGs toward the circular economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Dubey, if you have any.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, there's of course so many policies. It's very difficult to mention all of them, but I would like to mention two which are very typical for the policy mix we are believing in. We have, for example, and that is something which was very, very important to Germany on its way to a circular economy, that we stopped or we banned landfilling of untreated municipal waste. So that has boosted the recycling industries like anything. And because this is also a waste of resources, just dumping on landfills, even if they are sanitary landfills. And more recently, for example, we have come up with a new packaging law, which also follows the polluter pays principle, and it's a kind of a EPR policy. So what we are doing there is we are requesting producers of packaging materials to pay for their packaging, so that from that money the recycling and the collection can be organized. It is not paid by the municipal fees which the citizens pay. And recently we came up with some incentives, some price incentives, by making packaging materials which have a good recyclability or which have a high content of recyclates more cheap. So in other words, industry gets a financial incentive by producing environmental friendly packaging materials. And this has resulted into a kind of a catalog of what we call good packaging materials. And though it is not legally binding, it has resulted into the fact that the big retailers in Germany have started requesting their customers to follow this catalog, because there's a lot of public awareness and pressure from the public. People are quite sensitive and they want to avoid unnecessary packaging material. Maybe I leave it with that, because there are so many other policies, and that would probably need another webinar to explain all that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's very, very interesting to hear the different countries such as Japan and Germany is doing for the resource efficiency in the society. And then maybe we should have another webinar as mentioned. So I have a quick question to Roisin. I'm just wondering, like, what kind of strategy do you have under the GPAP to promote and also to find out the very effective public and private partnership under the GPAP or NPAP strategy or framework? If you have something very strong principle or strategy, then it would be great to hear something from Roisin. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. At GPAP, we kind of our ethos is to work as a platform, so to help to connect the dots between all of the different initiatives and programs that are happening. As I said, we do this globally, but a lot of the work really happens nationally. So creating those locally owned, locally driven platforms and helping to coordinate, as been mentioned, there's so much ambition, there's so much activity happening. So we really do our best to try to support those people on the ground to identify those opportunities and synergies. So a lot of that takes place through our different meetings and our communications and our events. We had our Davos Agenda Week just last week, so still being able to adapt those to the virtual format, and hopefully we'll be meeting in person again at some point later in the year. We're also currently developing a digital platform which will help our communities connect together more organically and to be able to promote best practice on that. So that's something that we're working on at the moment and hoping to launch that in the second half of this year.
Wow, that's very, very exciting to hear all this new platform, very private sector driven, I would say, from the perspective of the United Nations. I think it's very, so today I think we are kind of running late and we have lots of questions, very interesting question. We would like to go on every single question one by one, but at the moment the time doesn't allow us to do it. So maybe we can, for one by one, we would like to answer the question and get back to you as a feedback from this webinar. However, we would like to close the panel discussion at the moment and then go on to the closing remark from Mr. Oliver La, Wuppertal Institute. But however, thank you very much for the very prominent speakers and panelists. Thank you very much for the time for the participants. So Oliver La, please go ahead for your closing remark. Thank you.
Great, fantastic discussion, and thanks again to all the panelists and now for your moderation. Wonderful webinar. We are over time already, so I'll keep it very short in the closing remarks. So just one takeaway that I would like to feedback on is data and action, and turning data into action, but also closing that feedback loop on local action on the ground and feeding that back into this data set and the toolbox that has been so nicely developed and launched today, but also similar toolboxes in other sectors, such as mobility, for example. This is something that we are working on in the Urban Pathways project and partnership, and we are very grateful for the funding provided by the German Environment Ministry and the International Climate Initiative. And so thank you very much to support that. You're welcome to also follow some of our urban living labs that, and the work that we are doing in the implementation of urban waste management and mobility and sector interlinkages activities in the context of urban pathways. And with that, I would very much like to thank UN Habitat and the whole team for this wonderful webinar. As you have heard, there is more to come on the side of webinars and e-learnings, and we're just getting started. Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon, maybe eventually even live and real.
Thank you, Oliver. Thank you, participants. Here, I would like to, finally, I would like to mention that the very big thank you for the supporters and donors and partners, including the Ministry of Environment of Japan and Germany, and Global Partnership of Marine Litters, as well as the Vanke Foundation from China, who all supported us in the crystallization and development of the West Cities tool. And I thank you very much for all the participants coming into this event, and apologies for the technical problem in the beginning, but I hope you all enjoy this event. Thank you very much and see you soon.